When is part 2? And will it bring us LR Golden Frieza? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the Exploding Gratitude Dokkan Thank You Celebration. And we are looking at when I believe the part 2 of the celebration is coming and whether or not it will bring us the LR Golden Frieza. I have a couple thoughts on this, and I do want to share them as we go through, because I think the logic here lines up, especially if we follow previous trends. So the easiest way to figure out when part 2 is going to start is to take a look at the in-game news here. We do know that looking at the missions and the login bonuses, that the whole campaign for the Thank You Celebration is running until the 27th. This is pretty typical for these Dokkan Thank You Celebrations, running the whole month of November alongside a couple other campaigns, which we'll go over here later. But around the 27th is probably when we'll see the new December unit. But in between there, we should be getting a part 2 if trend holds. And the easiest way to figure this out is to scroll on down and take a look at the Elder Kai summon banners. Whenever that banner is leaving is typically when you can figure out when the next new summon banner is coming. They like to put these up when a new banner drops, take them away, and re-put them back up when the next new banner drops. So we have the current one began on the 4th when the Resurrection of F Blues dropped, right? We can see that it dropped at the same time as these guys, and it's going away on the 18th. Now, the 18th could mean nothing, it could mean something, but I think it means something simply because if we take a look at previous part 2 campaigns, like for last year's celebration, on the 17th is when their Thank You Celebration for the Gogeta campaign started, and the year before, same thing, part 2 started, let's scroll down here, on the 18th. So good chance that date is coinciding with the start of part 2. Now, as far as what part 2 is going to bring, if we follow the trend, this part 2 should bring the AGL Golden Frieza, along with various other things, like a new Super Strike Awakening. Now, we did get the King Cold already. They might push the next one forward, which should be the Grandpa Gohan. We should be getting a new Extreme Super Battle Road, which we just got a new stage. So I think the next new stage, if we open this up here, we just got, should be Movie Heroes. All right, so that'll be exciting. Stand by for that one. That'll be fun. But we should be getting that next. And we should be getting the EZA for the Frieza and Sorbet, and the sub-EZAs for those blue Resurrection of F Vegetas, along with a World Tournament, right? We do know that we should be getting a World Tournament. I don't know if we'll get the Dragon Ball Story redo. We might. I'm actually not sure which one they're on JP right now. I'd have to double check that, but we just got this, so I don't think we're getting this. I do pretty much think this is what we're going to see. Now, unfortunately, everything here is what'll be here except for the Frieza. Now, here's why I think that, right? I could be wrong, just so you know, right? I could be wrong here, but I'm going based on previous trends, and I'm going to say that no, Frieza's not coming. We'll start with last year's campaign, right? So, where is it? Last year's Gogeta campaign began on the 17th, and instead of running their Part 2 LR, which was the LR Fizz Janemba, they pushed him to January of the following year, and instead reran this top legendary summon, which basically gave you a shot at summoning for the SBA Goku or the Angel Vegeta, but they kept everything else, right? They kept the EZA for the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, they kept the SBR, they kept all the other awakenings and whatnot. It wasn't much, but it was all still there from JP. So I can't imagine that much would change. I figure we'll see the change just in the top legendary summon here. So we'll see some kind of banner like this beginning probably around the same time. And, you know, if last year wasn't enough, we take a look at the year before, same thing happened, right? Party began on the 18th, just like we're seeing this past year. And then they ran a bunch of LR summons throughout part 2 that you could summon and maybe pick up one of these LR characters. Now, I don't think this variant is what we'll see, simply because those banners were also present in part 1 that year, and we would have seen something in the news already if they were going to do that, so I don't think that that's what'll happen. But the point is that when you compare both of these, both of them did not have their part 2 LRs. Instead, they had some random assortment of LR banners instead of the unit it should have been. The unit that it should have been ended up getting pushed into the following year, around January timeframe. So I think the same thing is likely to happen here. Frieza is going to get pushed to January, or maybe even be the double rates. We'll have to see. But January seems the likely slot for him, since the double rates is probably going to coincide with the Vegeta and Trunks being fused Zama. So Frieza is going to have to be pushed to the wayside. As much as it pains me to say that, it's the only way to make room for the big thing that I know everyone is talking about right now: Super Dragon Ball Heroes. This is likely what is going to take up the bulk of the Part 2 celebration, besides World Tournament, right? Now, this will probably be starting around the same time, if not within a relatively short window from the 18th, right? If we look at 2 years before with the Vegito campaign, they started around the 18th, which was around the beginning of the part 2 of the Gotenks and Buu celebration. So good chance we could see the same start. If not, at the latest, we should see the Super Dragon Ball Heroes campaign come up by the 24th. Now, that'll be pretty late. I don't think they'll push it that late again this year, especially because this is a much smaller celebration than last year's was, right? Last year was big because it was a DFE LR, but this year, not so much. And if they're going to push the Golden Frieza away, more than likely we'll see the 18th date. It's probably the most likely scenario. Now, this stands to be a pretty big celebration for Heroes, right? We know we're getting the Super Hearts. We know we're getting the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. And there's a good chance that there may be a Gogeta or Vegito somewhere in the mix. Who knows? It's a lot of hope, but it makes it really hard for them if they end up pushing the Golden Frieza and trying to push Heroes at the same time. There's no incentive to summon on Heroes if they're going to push Frieza, right? Because Heroes, as awesome as they are, don't typically hold up for past the year, at least until the EZA. So last year's were kind of an exception because, you know, God Trunks is still kind of holding strong. Even the EZAs from last year are holding pretty strong, but still, Frieza blows them way out of the water. So it would, unless they do something crazy with Heroes this year, it makes sense for them to push Frieza. Otherwise, you know, there isn't going to be much incentive to summon on. Best advice, right, if they do end up pushing Frieza, is kind of hold off, wait to see what they do with the Heroes unit, and then make your call from there. That would be my best advice if that ends up being the case. But I don't think that'll be the case. The more than likely scenario is, as I laid it out in front of you, Frieza gets pushed to January. Everything else will probably be some random top legendary or random legendary summon banner, followed by Heroes somewhere around the 18th to the 24th. That's just kind of the way I think things are gonna play out. So anyways, guys, if you guys, that's the video. If you guys liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know, do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm pretty close? Do you think they're going to push Frieza? Or do you think Frieza's coming in just a few days? We'll know for certain once we get the teasers in a few days, but I think I'm onto something here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.